Another nightmare. Another Halloween. It had been 5 years since I left my small town. 5 years since I tried to outrun the horrors of my past. But the voice always found me. Every Halloween. The city lights outside my window offered little comfort. The air felt heavy, thick with the approaching dread of Halloween. I needed to forget. I had to.
Jake splashed cold water on his face, staring at his reflection in the mirror. His reflection stared back, haunted, weary. He was a shadow of the person he used to be. The past had a way of clinging to him, no matter how far he ran.
I can't let the voice win. I won't. This year will be different. I will face my fears. I have to.
New York City throbbed with life, a stark contrast to the quiet, eerie town Jake left behind. The constant motion, the cacophony of the city had been a balm to his frayed nerves. For a while, he had found solace in the anonymity of the city. He had built a new life for himself, a good life.
I had a job I enjoyed, friends I cared about. For a while, the nightmares had faded, the voice just a whisper in the back of my mind.
But as the leaves started to turn and the air grew crisp, the familiar dread crept back. Halloween was approaching, and with it, the promise of the voice's return.
I can't escape my past no matter how hard I try. It lurks around every corner waiting to resurface. The city, once my sanctuary, now feels like a cage.
The city was awash in a sea of orange and black. Fake cobwebs adorned every storefront, and grinning pumpkins leered from doorsteps. The air crackled with nervous excitement, a stark contrast to the creeping dread that filled Jake. Everywhere he turned, he saw reminders of his past.
Every Halloween decoration feels like a mocking reminder of the horror I tried so hard to escape.
He found himself avoiding his friends, his work. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, that something was coming. The voice in his nightmares grew stronger with each passing day, the whispers turning to chilling pronouncements.
My apartment, once a safe haven, feels oppressive, the silence punctuated by the ticking of the clock counting down to Halloween night. The city lights outside my window, once a comfort, now seem cold and menacing.
The clock struck midnight, signaling the arrival of Halloween. A shiver ran down Jake's spine. He sat alone in his darkened apartment, every shadow seeming to writhe, every creak of the building sending a jolt of fear through him. Suddenly, a low hum filled the air.
It came from the corner of the room, emanating from an old, dusty radio that had been left unplugged, untouched for years.
Jake's breath caught in his throat. He watched in horrified fascination as the dial flickered, then glowed with an eerie green light.
Hello, Jake. I've been waiting for you.
Jake's blood ran cold. He couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The voice, the same voice that haunted his nightmares, was here. In his apartment, escape was futile. He was trapped. Terror threatened to consume him, but Jake found a shred of defiance. He would not cower any longer. He stood, his legs shaky, his heart pounding like a drum in his chest. Slowly, he turned towards the radio. The voice continued to speak, but Jake was no longer listening. He felt a strange sense of clarity. He had feared this voice for years, let it control his life. No more.
Who are you? What do you want from me?
You already know who I am, Jake, and you know what I want.
Jake's hands clenched into fists. The fear was still there, but it was mingled with a newfound determination. He would not be a prisoner of his past any longer. He would face his fears, whatever the cost.
No, I don't know who you are, and I'm not afraid of you anymore.
He took a step closer to the radio, each step a victory against the fear that had haunted him for years. The voice sputtered, as if surprised by Jake's sudden defiance. Then it began to whisper, the words swirling around Jake, chilling him to the bone. The whispers grew louder, morphing into a guttural chant, the radio glowing brighter, the green light pulsing with an eerie life of its own. Jake stood his ground, his fear battling with a strange sense of curiosity. What was the voice saying, and what did it mean? He had to know. Just as suddenly as it began, the chanting stopped. The radio fell silent, the green light fading into darkness. Jake stood there, heart pounding, his breath coming in ragged gasps. He waited, but the silence remained unbroken. What had happened? Had he imagined the whole thing? Had he finally escaped the voice?
This isn't over, Jake. This is just the beginning.